Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. Hope you're having a great day. I'm actually thrilled that today we're going to have the opportunity to visit with Woody Bailey, look back on Cruisin the Coast. What a fundamentally successful year it was. And I got to see it because we did a bunch of live remotes this year, and that was a lot of fun. It's always fun to get out and see people and talk to them and see the excitement around something like Cruisin the Coast. But without any further ado, let's move over to Woody Bailey, the executive director for Cruisin the Coast. And first, just say, how you doing this morning, my friend?
Doing great, doing really good. Just regrouping, recovering, and moving forward. So all's good right now.
Can you? I mean, you look back on this year. I don't know if I've ever seen so many people on the coast at one time. It was unbelievable. What was the final number, and how did it compare?
Registration wise, 10,334, 41 states, Canada, England, Australia, and we had an American that he's actually living in Germany right now, so he's somewhat of a German. So we had like I say, quite the turnout, and we broke our record on Thursday for 2023 was our previous record at 10,070. So we are 264 ahead of the record that we set in 23. So very, very, very impressive. Another outstanding number that I want to share with you too is the fact that we had right at 16% of that registration number, 10,334 or 1,662 for people that were first timers to the event. And I love that number. That's it's usually been between 12 and 14%, as first timers. But that's awesome. I'm really, really happy about that. For people to be coming out for the event. This is we're fixing to be 30 years old next year, our 30th anniversary, and new people coming, new blood, basically, I guess you'd say. That's pretty exciting to me.
It really is. I tell you, I make observations from a bunch of different perspectives this year because, as you know, instead of doing just one live remote at Biloxi Town Square, we did one there, of course, like we traditionally do, but we did one over in Moss Point, and we also did one from the Coast Coliseum for the Vicari auctions. And well, first of all, starting with Moss Point was just a great opportunity for that city. The mayor referred to it as Christmas, which I love that. But so many people come into the city. They're celebrating new restaurants in the city and this sense of things. The weather for the week started out a little iffy, but then it got amazing as the days went on. And so we started that day out with a little bit of breeze and a little bit of fog, but no rain. And it was a great visit. Lots of people. So, I don't know that there's an event that brings so many people into downtown Moss Point. And it seemed like people really enjoyed being there, Woody.
Oh, they did. Mayor Knight, Sue Wright, who kind of heads it up for the mayor, did a great job. Sue called me a couple of days ago and told me that they pretty accurate about 3,280, if I remember correctly, as far as number of vehicles. She thinks it really was higher than that. But to have that kind of a crowd in Moss Point is just exciting to me, and everybody just enjoys it. We hadn't had our real flood of emails yet here in the office, but we'll be hearing from everybody, as the next week or so too goes on. But Moss Point was great, no doubt.
Well, we were thrilled to have Coastal Mississippi engaged in sponsoring our efforts, and one of the things, and we typically do Harrison County and Biloxi, and then of course over in Jackson County we did Moss Point. They're actually talking about adding a Hancock County maybe next year. I think that would be great to go and enjoy and what's happening over in Hancock County. But
Sure.
But Town Square in Biloxi, it always feels busy, but it felt even busier. I mean, the traffic seemed busier. The cars around the Town Square itself seemed to be a little bit more tightly compacted, so it could get more in there. I don't know if that's true or not. but the sense of it all was just on a scale that was really terrific. And then it got to the Coliseum, and we've been to the Coliseum during the event because I've gone over to watch the auction. Pete's a friend, but
Right.
I've never been there at this moment. And man, first of all, when I got there, I'm thinking I'm getting there early. We go on the air at 9. It's a little bit before 8. I'm thinking I'm getting there early. And when I turned the corner to get into the Coliseum, I'm thinking, holy mackerel, where did all these people come from? I mean, it was unbelievable. I had plenty of time, was able to get to where we were doing the live remote inside the event itself. But I had the opportunity to chat with Matt McDonald, and he said, look, you take the $1 million events, the best rock and roll bands, or you name it, and this event's bigger than that. So it really puts it in perspective, man, with the swap meet and the Vicari auction going on and literally having to shut it down, not having anybody new coming into the parking lot because there's not a parking spot. But they say that's normal. But I bet the number of people who wanted to get there is not normal. When I turned out after the live remote and took the right on Highway 90, the line of cars still trying to get in there was way down to like Edgewater Mall. But wow, man, that's just everywhere you go, there was success.
Yeah, that's one of the things at the Coliseum. We, like I say, as Matt tells you, we are the biggest event that he does each year. And we do have to close the parking down, unfortunately, and until some people leave. He's totally maxed out. As you know, he's working on some other property close by that he's going to have some additional space, but it's pretty amazing. Just the turnout overall this year was really great. Not in just us, but I think overall spectators, everybody. The weather was so great, and so I think a lot of people came in as the week progressed, and so we just had some great numbers. And for the most part, I think other than on Saturday, the traffic really flowed really well. In most areas that I was in, and I go to every event we do, and I never really had too much of a problem getting where I needed to go. So if everybody thinks about what they're up to and where they're headed, I don't really think traffic's too big of a problem. Now, if you're going to go east and west on 90, you can expect traffic. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Hey, the one snag was totally beyond your control when they had that accident and it kind of shut down Highway 90 for that period of time. Even Rob Siegler, right, who incidentally, watching Rob, who works for you, watching his feed, he was genuinely enthusiastic about the week and the work and the volunteers and all of that. That's great to see. But yeah, you can't do anything about an accident like that. Hopefully, we won't be doing any drag racing on Highway 90 in the future if that's what they were doing. I don't know all the details, but it was unfortunate. But yeah, right, there's always going to be traffic challenges on an event like this. And if people just think it through, they can get around it. And especially the locals who kind of know their way around. Right. That's just part of the deal, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. We just, like I say, a lot of people in town, largest event probably in the state of Mississippi as well as the Gulf Coast. So, we just try to deal with it as best we can. And that's what I try to do is spread out these events, throughout the whole coast, since we've got between Pascagoula and Waveland to work, with having events. And, I try to get things spread out as best we can. So that seems to help tremendously.
So, hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll have one more segment together. We'll talk about, what's a day in the life of Woody as he goes from event to event. But how did it go in Waveland? How did it go in Bay St. Louis? And we'll take a bit of a tour of each of the cities. But before we do that, the event moved, the actual headquarters moved to Jones Park, to the area of the Barksdale Pavilion. How did that turn out?
That was great. The Jones Park Barksdale Pavilion setup really worked well. We're going to be having some follow-up meetings with Gulfport PD and the city of Gulfport, but early signs that things worked out well. We had I think a really good traffic plan. We probably got a little bit of tweaking to do, but the facility was great. Lots of room. Just everybody has to get kind of used to what we were doing. It's so easy if everybody understands the system, and we got to make sure everybody knows that, because we got buses going east and west throughout the park all day long, every day, and then the tram coming over from the CTA garage. So it was a great setup, and we're looking forward to being there, hopefully for a long time. Had a little bit of rain the first of the week that kind of impacted us some. So we were on grass, but the city worked with us, and we're happy to be there.
Yeah, you think about all of that, again, it's just about, getting all these pieces so they're in sync and coordinated and whatever. But with the parking garage there, I bet the Mississippi Aquarium was some kind of thrilled with the fact that, people were right there. I bet their numbers were incredibly good. But yeah, I think you got a lot going on, and you can spread the traffic out a little bit. That's also a benefit. When we come back on the other side with Woody Bailey, we'll take a look at what was going on in each of the cities, so you can get a sense of it if you didn't know that already. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. Hope you're having a great day. We're visiting with Woody Bailey, the executive director for Cruisin the Coast, looking back on this year's cruising event. A record, over 10,300 cars. That's incredible. And by the way, we always say this, Woody, when we're together, but that's registered cars. Gosh, man,
Correct.
How many cars were here this year that weren't registered?
Well, it's really hard to know. Years ago, I used to say around 3,000. Now it's really, I think, more like 5. And some people say it's really way more than that. But to be conservative, I think in the 5 range. And we just got a lot of people. We'd love for them to register, but we're glad they're here. So that's still helping out with the economy, and people are here enjoying the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So we're happy to have you. But you do get a lot more perks and all if you register. So we'll see. But we the numbers are great, and I think I mentioned when we talked before. I still want to make sure we keep this event as the best event. I'm not really trying to get to the biggest event. We're not trying to just continue to break records, but we want it to work for everybody and want everybody to enjoy it and have fun. So those are important things to me as we move forward with the event.
Yeah, it's all, it's what's interesting. That's a really good point, because what is the point where you have diminishing returns? Is there a point? And how would you contain it? Because it's so popular. I mean, what happens is, the people who register, you don't know the people who didn't register. And as the word gets out and people, again, over 80% of the people who come to this market anyway come here by car. It's just, and because of where we are located, so centrally located in the United States, people, and the word travels and people post. I think one of the things we can't even begin to understand is the amount of posting that is going on. People coming down here posting on social media. I'm just saying, to their family and friends. And then you have influencers that are doing that. And then you're having, travel magazines doing that. And you have car enthusiast magazines and volunteers that are doing the same thing. The impact of that, the cumulative impact of that marketing over a long period of time, you wouldn't be able to stop it. It seems like it's going to get more popular is what I think.
That's very possible. We'll continue to look at it. Like I say, we used to think that in our area here that back when we were a lot smaller, the venues are, more compact or closer together. We really thought around 6,000 was our max number. And now that we stretched out between Pascagoula to Waveland, we're able to handle more. So we've got, like as I always say, we have more real estate to work with. And like I say, knock on wood, so far it seems to be working, and people are still happy and enjoying it. So we want to keep it that way. So here we go.
Well, listen, I mentioned Rob earlier, and I mentioned the volunteers, but I mean, you got a tiny staff. This whole thing is done because you've got car enthusiasts, volunteers who are willing to literally dedicate their week to this event. Hundreds of volunteers it requires across the entire coast. How did that part of it go?
Very well. We have our 12 car clubs that are our backbone of the event. As far as volunteers, they provide us around 700 volunteers. I suspect it's more like overall when you talk about the community folks involved, and it's around 1,400 that we have that help put this event on. And so far, we seem to still be doing well. That's still, as I've told you before, that's our biggest challenge down the road. Who's going to be filling those shoes 10, 15, 20 years from now? So we're continuing to work on that, but we've got to draw from the community, various civic groups and clubs and all, and get some help. We may have to start hiring people to do some of these jobs. So we'll just have to see how it works out. But that's going to be a challenge for us.
Yeah, maybe at some point, maybe you have to increase the size of your staff just to focus on these pieces. It's tough. I did have a conversation with Pete Vicari from Vicari Auctions afterwards, and I'm sure you did too. But he said, man, that his piece of it went extraordinarily well. He was very, very happy with the way it turned out. So, but how does your week start, Woody? Where do you start your week? And tell us about kind of how Woody moves around during that week.
Well, I'll tell you one of the best, or could be the worst example of as far as what I do during the event. Let me just give you a snapshot on Wednesday. Wednesday, I start off in Waveland that morning. Then I go to Biloxi for the block party. And then after I leave the block party and do interviews with y'all and everything, take off to Diamond Head. So I go back to the west to Diamond Head for their Blessing of the Classics. And following that, I head back to Biloxi again for Beau Ravage's big evening event. So that's just that's probably one of my worst days as far as travel, but that's just a part of it. Then I think it was trying to remember now. Yeah, it was Friday. I had to go back again to the west, and then end up eventually in Bay St. Louis via Pascagoula. So I try to go to all our venues, and I have a cousin that used to help us with helicopters during Smoking the Sound, the boat races we did, but. That's kind of hard to do with all these cars around. I don't want any rocks to be flying into any of the cars or the venues. So I'm not going to take flight. I think my vehicle was the best method of transportation for me. So I'm going to continue doing that. But it's always fun, like I say, when I going into Moss Point, seeing what's going on, and I drive through the venues themselves, and I want to drive through the cruising lanes. I want to see what the cruisers see and how everything works for them. So it's just a busy time. I kind of plot out my schedule and try to follow it. And then there are a few curveballs that come along to have to deal with, but that's okay. So we just deal with them and keep moving on.
There's so many iconic shots that come out of cruising, and I think about the time we spent in Pass Christian. I think about some of the photos that I've seen from Ocean Springs, but I think some of the most iconic, and they're all wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just talking about what kind of stands out in my mind. It's some of the aerial shots I saw from Bay St. Louis, where you've got the marina there and the cars along the way, and there's kind of this old town feel about it. So iconic, man. I mean. And those are the kind of pictures that get shared all over the United States. There's just really no way to know how many pictures are taken, whether it's from drones or whatever. It really does showcase this place, doesn't it?
It really, no doubt about it. The Bay St. Louis situation. Bay St. Louis and Ocean Springs, very, very popular venues. Pascagoula is coming on strong as a popular venue, and like I say, those beautiful oak trees that line Washington Avenue and Ocean Springs is just a perfect setting for this event. I don't know how more iconic it could get than those kind of pictures. So we've just got a beautiful area here, and everything just seems to flow very well. And it worked well. And like I say, I see a lot of people that are smiling and having a good time while they're here during the event. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I look at the existing mayors, the ones that had been in position already. They look at the new mayors, Kenny and Pass Christian, Hugh and Gulfport, and Tim in Long Beach, and Bobby Cox in Ocean Springs. I look at pictures of them during cruising, and they're smiling, man. They're looking at what this means for their city. Loved spending time with, for example, Bobby Cox actually on the live remote. And I don't know if he could have a more genuine smile and excitement about what this means for his city. But isn't that great to see all these mayors being so happy and excited about bringing people to their cities?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Like Kenny in the past, Mayor Kenny, he's right up there in the middle of our burnout. He's a real car guy, so he really gets with the program. And Mayor Tim in Long Beach, is a new time for him, a new event for him, and he's trying to promote it and work toward making it, continue to make it better. So all the new mayors, Hugh's been on board. He was there welcoming everybody and thanking everybody at the closing ceremonies for participating in the event. So all of them have been involved, and Bobby he was out there in the whole mix of things. If you saw him, he's right in there helping out. So they're all really have gotten involved with the event, and that's great. And the other mayors that have been around for a while too, I certainly want to give them credit for helping sponsor the event, and their public works departments, the police, fire, just everybody pitches in, and it takes all of us here on Mississippi Gulf Coast to make this event work. And the people that live here, like I say, they're our secret weapon. They help us win these awards, I think.
They are what's in the heart and soul of Mississippi, and something people love when they come to visit here. I say it all the time. Woody Bailey, Executive Director for Cruisin the Coast. Thank you for joining me, man. Congratulations on a record year.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was a super year. Here comes the 30th anniversary. We're working on a lot of things, and we'll be talking about that here before too much longer.
Yeah, we will, man. Time flies, man. Time flies. God bless you, my friend. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.